What's up, everybody? It is WWE Backlash weekend. We're 1 week removed from the WWE draft. We're going to have it all right now on In This Very Ring.
I can't believe it! Yes! Yes! The Rock is going to WrestleMania! Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh, my God! Oh, my unbelievable counter! Oh, my God! Unbelievable!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of In This Very Ring, live right here on A2D Radio. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I am, without a shadow of a doubt, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. My name is Ritz, and joining me as he does each and every single Friday night, the mayor of Toasty Town. This is Butters. Woo! Yeah, woo! I wish we had like a crowd clapping sound that we could overlay with that, just to give you
round
an
of
actual
applause.
clap.
Round of applause.
Round of applause. We are brought to you by our friends at Alonzi Travel. Alonzi Travel specializes in creating a vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts, including yours truly, create a custom vacation for you without any of the stress. Alonzi on over at alonzi-travel.com/take the trip to get in touch with myself, Eagles Talk, A2D's Chuck Moranin, which, by the way, happy birthday, Chuckster, or any of the other talented travel agents here at Alonzi Travel. We got a big show for you tonight. We weren't on last week. NFL draft superseded WWE draft. I was okay with it because normally, if you've been here a while, we normally do WrestleMania, and then we take like that next week off because we do, that week, the week after, we take it off just to kind of regroup. You know, WrestleMania is a long weekend for us, but we didn't, so we took last week. It was great. Had a great time being off, but we're back now. Pete Evans will be joining us in just a little bit to talk about WWE Backlash and the fallout from the draft. Those are going to be our main topics for the evening, and whatever else you guys want to talk about. Let us know in the comments section. Let us know where you're chatting at us from. What do you guys think about WWE Backlash this coming weekend? Actually, tomorrow. Our topic of conversation tonight, JD McDonagh will cost Damien Priest the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash France. Let's set the stage like we always do, right? You go back to Monday Night Raws ever since Priest won the title at WrestleMania this past April, now that it's May. And McDonagh has been a source of issues. He's been getting himself involved in Damien's matches unwarranted.
Yep.
He has cost
just his matches, but his promos too.
Yeah, he's just everywhere. He's a thorn in his side. And we saw it this past week where he got knocked out by Logan Paul. We saw it the week prior. Yeah, he went nighty-night. We saw it the week prior where he got involved in Damien's match and cost him that match. It was a tag match, wasn't it?
I do believe so, yes.
So you see how they're setting this. Plus, when you factor in Rhea Ripley out, Dominic Mysterio, sideline, Finn Balor, just kind of there, right? Whatever plans you had for the Judgment Day are gone.
Well, Damien should be back within the next month, supposedly. We're going around.
You mean Dominic?
Yes. He's not as bad as they thought he was, and he should be back within the roughly no more or less than 6 weeks.
I did hear that he does not need surgery, which is good because it's Tommy John is what they thought he had.
Yes.
Right?
Now they're calling him Dirty Sanchez. No.
You're an idiot.
That's what his daddy called him Monday.
Really? I missed that promo.
Backstage, him in the LWO. And daddy called him Dirty Sanchez.
That's fantastic.
With that goofy ass mustache he had on.
It's so stupid.
He truly is diving into the Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, he looks so much like Eddie.
Yeah, I know. Makes you wonder. Woo!
Right? But Butters, let's throw it to you, right? Do you think McDonagh is costing Priest the title at Backlash, because there's more than just the fact that the Judgment Day is in shambles, right? This really plays into the idea of it's 1 month removed, almost to the day, 1 month removed from Damien winning the championship. It's his first major defense. It's main event Jey Uso, who finally won in the main event last month, who's riding a wave of why does your shirt look, that is not working.
You know what? Keep going. I am still here. I am still talking. I'm still listening.
Okay. Yeah, that shirt ain't it, brother.
I didn't even realize it until you said something.
I missed it. But anyway, it didn't look that bad at first. But anyway, right? So it's more about Jey as well, right? There's the element we haven't talked about. Jey Uso once again back on this rocket ship to the moon. And
Monday Night Raw doesn't have as much of that star power within Cody Rhodes and everybody else to kind of, in a sense, hold back Jey.
Well, and he got that number one pick.
Yes. So now your main event talent is going to be people like Damien Priest, main event Jey Uso, and, to a point, potentially Finn Balor, if all hell breaks loose within the Judgment Day, after Backlash.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the draft in the second half of the show, right? But when Jey was that number one pick, I even think I texted all of you guys, and I said, Jey's winning at Backlash.
Yeah, because you were also talking about JD McDonagh costing
much better.
I think it's because of the bright neon green in the.
Oh yeah, that would have done it.
It was Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan t-shirt, but I forget that the neon brightness of the shirt, and the green screen does not mix.
Chrome will be with us in just a little bit as well.
Okay.
I want to get to Mike Hayes. So I want to put a pause in our conversation about this, just because Mike Hayes' comment it's kind of off the beaten path of what we're talking about, and we don't have plans to talk about it tonight. So I want to give it some time, just a little bit, not too much. But Mike Hayes says, opinion: should Tony Khan just stop marking out to WWE and focus on his product? Well, Mike, if you're new here, you know my thoughts. Well, you don't know my thoughts on that black sweatshirt wearing putz. I think the worst thing he could have done, and I've said it a trillion times over the last month and even before that, but over the last month, the worst thing he did was he put himself in the ring to get injured days before the NFL draft, showed up to the draft in the neck brace, selling the move, which, don't get me wrong, is great, right? It's smart. It's but then when he was interviewed, instead of putting over his product and his story, he felt the need to bring up WWE when the question was not about WWE.
And it was the name he even called them. I'm like, you don't say that.
Right. And ESPN immediately moved away from the conversation with Khan. And Mike, no, don't apologize for bringing up AEW. I'll stop conversation to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I knew this was going to come up. I just didn't think it'd be so early, but I want to give you time. I want to give you the time you deserve. You took the time to watch our show and make the comment. I'm going to talk about it. If AEW wants to succeed, stop worrying about what Punk and focus on the product. Thoughts? No, I agree. And
he needs to stop fanboying out. He needs to stop worrying about WWE. And to Mike's point, he needs to focus just solely on AEW and bettering his brand.
Here you go, Chrome. Tony took the best thing he did in forever, had the neck brace. But then he shows himself as a hypocrite by making the Weinstein comment when Jericho was still employed there.
Yeah.
It writes itself at that point,
Bad.
I was not, don't get me wrong, I was not a fan of Tony getting in the ring, just in general, just because it looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like, don't get me wrong, Vince was no star when he got beat up.
Yes.
But I don't and maybe it's too early in the story to tell, but this whole thing with the EVPs and all that, it's a hard pill to swallow that this is how it's going. The thing with Kenny Omega and the Elite and all that. But putting a live microphone in front of him on draft weekend, when, I mean, realistically, to a degree, put over your Jags, right? And then at the end, oh, Tony, why are you in the neck brace? Oh, well, Matt and Nicholas Jackson, man, they gave me a con driver, and we're going to have something to talk about on Wednesday because you don't touch the boss. Like something like that, something simple, right? And then move on. But either way, before we get too far off topic, I wanted to give Mike that opportunity because I appreciate the comment, appreciate everybody commenting in as we do each and every week. But to go back to McDonagh and Priest and the world title picture. And Butters, I don't know if you ever actually agreed or disagreed. And I know I haven't said it.
I think I was about to, and I had to change the shirt.
Right, yeah. Let's do that. Agree, disagree.
No, I will agree to the poll. I do believe JD cost good Lord, Damien Priest the title. If that so happens, it's going to be JD. It's not going to be the Judgment Day as a whole. It's going to be JD because this is what they've been leading to. JD has been match after match, promo after promo since WrestleMania, if not before, just been getting involved and more involved in the Judgment Day business. But when he does, he screws it all up. He doesn't just, try to help or try to, oh, hey, let me take him down. No. He doesn't coordinate, in a sense, with the rest of the Judgment Day about, hey, I was going to beat him down. I was going to do this. Well, why didn't you, why don't you say something? Why don't you tell us? Stay out of the way. Now you need to stay out of the business. And it's all going to come to a head come Backlash.
It will. And I think, take out the AJ and Cody. Well, yeah, that's a dream match for some people. I think this is the match that all eyes are going to be on tomorrow because it's Damien's first main event moment.
First title defense.
Right. He had his moment at WrestleMania. Awesome. Very, very happy for him. But it's his first title defense. It's going up against somebody who is stupid over. Jey Uso is one of the most top tier talents in the company as a solo star. And I never thought that Jey Uso would be the standout of the bunch. But because I never thought the Usos would split up like that.
Correct. But then again, if there ever was a way to split up the Usos, this was the right way.
They did it wonderfully. They absolutely did it wonderfully. There's a part of me that wants to agree to this because I've been saying it for 2 weeks now, right? But there's the other part of me that as we've been getting ready for the show today that says maybe I disagree to the point.
Okay.
Because if McDonagh does cost Priest the title and Jey Uso walks out of France as the champion, what does McDonagh Priest do for anybody when you have most of the Judgment Day out and not coming back for a while? Right, when you have the two top tier, like the de facto leader in Rhea Ripley, right? What does that do? Well, that doesn't do anything. Would it make more sense for, say, Jimmy to show up and maybe help Jay win the title? Maybe that could be a possibility too. But Chrome here goes, don't think I'll be on in time for this match, so I'll say disagree. The Jimmy Jay reunion will be coming. They're not taking the title off Priest. And that's the other thing. I think it's too early. You spent so much time building Priest up as senior Money in the Bank for almost a year. Right? For him to lose it not even a full 30 days later.
But you had the perfect opportunity, the perfect reason for him to lose. If you want him to lose, you had that Judgment Day aspect. But if you don't want to, that's fine as well. I wouldn't complain.
But what Judgment Day aspect? Let me ask you that, right? in just a few short words, because I do want to get to some of the other matches.
Okay.
In just a few short words, like what Judgment Day aspect is there when Finn Balor has not been positioned as a powerhouse in that faction? He's very much just another henchman.
He's just the uncle on the side giving advice.
Right. He's the old school mentor that just shows up occasionally. Right? If we had to be nerdy about it for a little bit.
But it's just the fact that they're not on the same page. That's truly what's going to cost the Judgment Day is nobody's on the same page. Dom's doing his own business on the side. JD isn't, planning up with them. And then to your point here now is Finn Balor's just off to the side with the crazy uncle advice.
The only thing I could think that happens is maybe Damien does lose, but it's by disqualification, so the title doesn't change hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at McDonagh's fault, right? And then he just destroys McDonagh. Absolutely, choke slam, beat down with the chair, like victimizes this man.
Mm-hmm.
And sends a message to Dom and Finn. Hey, Rhea may be gone, but now I'm the one calling the shots. And if you cross me and you don't have the Judgment Day's best interest at heart, I promise you, what I give you will be worse than what I did to him.
Oh yeah.
So, but let we'll touch base on it when Pete gets here because I think he's coming on in just a little bit. We know how Chrome feels about it. But let's move on. Let's go. I want to save Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles more towards the end. But let's do an easy one. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga.
I think the Bloodline takes this one. I think this new version of the Bloodline is a lot more nastier, a lot more deadlier than, what they've been portraying on TV, even though they have portraying them as, a nastier, deadlier blood. I think they're just more, we're going to see a side of them we haven't seen on TV yet.
Well, and Daly, which, Brian Daly chiming in from Flyers Talk HUD, agrees with me in my assessment of what's going to happen in the JD McDonagh, the Damien Priest, JD McDonagh, Jey Uso, that whole little triangle of things. But here's another faction that is lacking leadership, right? Roman's gone. Roman's going to be off TV for a little bit. He's filming that movie or that TV show or whatever it is.
I think it's a movie.
Yeah, sure. He's off filming, and you have Solo Sikoa without no one's holding the leash, right? He's off his leash, and you brought in Tama Tonga, who is equally as crazy and equally as psychotic as Solo, and these two are running roughshod, but they're not the kind of uncontrollable crazy. They're very much so methodical and violent. And so I don't think Orton and Owens stand a chance. I think this is to very much solidify the fact that these two are going to just own everybody. And I think we need to see the next chapter in this, I think. And I think here's the best place for it. God, that was difficult to say.
Man, you're pulling on me tonight.
Right? It's been a long day. If you were to bring out somebody like Jacob Fatu, or if you were to allude to a tribal chief that isn't Roman, and we actually see a glimpse of who that could be, right? I think that would be a great thing to keep this bloodline thing going, because right now all you're doing is you're just having them go out and beat up on people.
Yeah.
That'll only take you so far.
I agree.
Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. This is Jade's first shot at gold. It's these two as a tag team. We saw them tonight on SmackDown. They were vicious. They were dominant. Is this time to put the gold around Bianca? I mean, not Bianca, Jade's waist.
I see it.
And it would turn Bianca into a Grand Slam champion.
Yep. But I can also see them setting this up for Bianca Jade to take these titles to just before SummerSlam, lose them in typical tag team fashion, splitting up and taking each other on at SummerSlam.
And I think so as well, right? I think that's a great way to pitch that, right? I'm not sure what team that would be, but I think you put these titles on Bianca and Jade. Jade's gonna put butts in seats and it's gonna put eyes on the TV.
Yep.
Right? And that's people what she's gonna do right now.
And because they're tag team champions, they can be on all three brands. So now you've got Jade everywhere.
Yep. So I think that's huge because then you can take her to NXT and let her work with some of the talent down there, and without having to put her down in NXT for a long period of time.
Yep.
So I definitely think that's a great possibility. Bayley taking on Naomi and Tiffany Stratton in a triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. I'm torn here.
Between Bayley and Tiffy time?
I am. I don't think Naomi should have the title, but if they do put the title on Naomi, then we have another faction because you've got Naomi, Bianca, and Jade.
Yep.
That WrestleMania trio all together, all with gold. To say it's been done before is an understatement.
A women's nation.
Yeah, or whatever they're calling themselves.
I don't know what they're calling. I was just throwing that out there.
3B or whatever. Which I don't know how that fits, but okay.
I don't even want to know.
I don't either. But I think Tiffany would be a great women's champion. I think Bayley being champion served a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think putting the title on her allowed her to close that chapter. And Bayley's better when she's in the fight.
Yeah.
Right? There are some superstars, and we've talked about it. Seth's better sometimes when he's in the fight. Right? There are some superstars who, when they're chasing the gold, they're fantastic. But as soon as they get the gold, they're like, oh, okay. Cool. You have it. Now what are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when it comes to Bayley, I think she just does better going for that gold. And I think Tiffany came up to the main roster with a jetpack on because of how white hot she was in NXT. All of that carried over to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately got herself in these high profile matches, from the Elimination Chamber to what did she do at WrestleMania?
Who?
Tiffany Stratton.
I don't think she did anything at Mania.
Was she not on the card? Here, I'm looking at the card right now.
No, I think she just got called up to the roster.
Yeah, no, she was not. Okay, never mind. I thought for some reason she was on the card for something. But irrelevant to the fact, right? She did great at the Rumble. She did great at Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't be mad if they put the title on Tiffany Stratton. I don't think you put the title on Naomi right now, unless you're going to turn Naomi heel.
I don't think you're going to turn Naomi heel because you're not going to turn Bianca and Jade heel. And they're
right.
all together.
Right. So, I don't know. That's just kind of where I sit with that. What do you think?
Again, I'm agreeing with you that I'm torn, but at the same time, I think Bayley retains this one. I don't see an early championship loss, so to speak, from Bayley. I think she takes this for at least a few more months before she loses it. I think she's going to, I think maybe she goes into a feud with Tiffany Stratton before she drops it to Tiffy.
Well, and we talked about this post-WrestleMania. All titles changed hands except the Kabuki Warriors, Rhea, and Logan.
Yep.
Right? And now you look to this night, the only people defending their titles that didn't defend them, well, hell, they didn't even defend them at WrestleMania, were the Kabuki Warriors. Those titles were not on the line over the weekend. So it stands to wonder, are they going to lose? If they lose, does it make sense to take the title off of Bayley, who's only had it for a month? same argument we had with Damien Priest. He's only had the title for a month. Right? Same argument we're about to have with Cody. He's only had the title for a month.
And isn't Becky defending too?
Not from what I'm looking at.
Oh, okay.
No, I think she's defending. No, because Liv beat Nia, but I don't think that solidified Liv as the number one contender.
Okay, I for some reason I thought they added that match to the card.
No, not that they just posted something. Let me go to their Twitter because they posted the card, and I just kind of
seen was just 5 matches earlier today.
Yeah, and that's what I have here. I have 5 matches as well. There was a backstage brawl. All right, let's bring in the OGP of A2D. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Pete Evans.
Happy anniversary, gentlemen.
What's up?
What's up, man?
What anniversary are we talking about?
It's Bullet Club anniversary.
Oh. I did not know that, if I'm being honest with you. So you look at this weekend, and there's really only one date that matters.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Like I'm already waiting for midnight so I can say it.
Oh, I'm texting all of you people.
Say it and feel it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm out of the loop.
What's tomorrow, dummy?
Backlash?
What day is Backlash?
Oh, yeah.
God, are you stupid?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Nope. Still fails.
Good on 66%.
All right, so Pete, I want to get you to weigh in on the poll question. I want to get you to weigh in on some of the matches. We haven't talked Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles yet, but let's go all the way back. JD McDonagh, will he cost Damien the championship match?
I disagree to the poll. If you would have asked me this question 24 hours earlier, I would have agreed. But I think there's more long-term storytelling in the fact that he attempts where he flubs it, Priest still wins. And then now on Monday night, you have Priest either one or two things. Either he go or I goes.
Yeah. And
as a champion, you either kicks JD out, JD turns face, whatever, what have you. And then you got, obviously, it's almost similar to what we used to have with like when Cesaro faced Roman for the title during that run. Like you knew it really wasn't going to happen. It was good to see, and you still got invested in the story, right?
Yep.
Kind of the same thing this could happen with JD and Priest. Or if they decide to keep JD over Priest, but either way, Priest either is in control of the Judgment Day solely, and he's not, it's undisputed at that point, or he goes on his own. I think the longer term storytelling is that, because also if someone did agree to the poll or does agree to the poll, what's next for Priest outside of his run with Judgment Day, and then what's next for Jey?
Yep, that was kind of where, because I kind of went along the same lines, right?
Yeah.
I went, we've been talking about it in our chats, and I said it when Jey got drafted. I was like, he's winning at Backlash.
Right.
But now the more we talk about it, the more it gets close. Mm-hmm. Like, I might be wrong. I don't think he's winning anymore. But all right, so we'll go bottom up. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline.
Bloodline.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca and Jade.
I mean, I don't even the JB connection. I can't say it the other way.
Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffany.
I can't believe it. Like, and they're purposely putting Bianca's name first. Like
100% they are.
You said so the other one's Tiffany, Stratton,
Naomi, and Bayley, yeah.
I think they're going. I mean, you kind of had to go with Bayley, but I think Tiffany is ready. I don't know if you would want to do it in this sense, in this match to pass that. But I think maybe if they wait and they tell the story right, SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Tiffany and Bayley. Tiffany goes over at SummerSlam. I mean,
I can see that.
You could see it. You could see it too. And here's the other thing we have to take into account: where it's at. It's in France.
Yep.
First PLE in France. So they may want to get cute. They may want to make it big. They really haven't done that because if you look at what they did in Elimination Chamber in Australia, and Clash of the Castle, were times where, let's just say it, another promotion may have just went with what the crowd wanted and sent the crowd home happy, but then you have to think about the storytelling from that point, right?
Yes.
No one sat here and they have my trust because no one sat here a year ago this time after WrestleMania 39, and we were some of us were, I know me and Chrome were, but now that we look back at WrestleMania 39, was it the right time for Cody to win it after what we saw at WrestleMania 40? So I trust him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I trust him. And I don't think, I mean, coming off of Mania, I don't think you're going to hot shot the title. But, I mean, it's going to be a good match, but I expect Bayley to win that one.
All right. And then, so now it's getting to Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles. This is just like we were talking about, Pete, you brought it up. Cesaro versus Roman all over again. AJ's not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You'd be stupid if you had AJ win the title.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And no disrespect to AJ. I love AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
This is your SmackDown guy. I mean, AJ was the face that built the place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now here comes Cody, first time on SmackDown. And he's got to legitimize his title. First major defense. You put him up against the best you got.
Yeah, you have to. Like, we're going to see a string of wins with Cody because you have to legitimize his run as the person who just took the title off the person who was holding it for 1,300 days.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not look pretty. I like the way they told this story and how we got here to this point, coming off of Mania, having these two triple threat matches, having the qualifying match and having that match. And it almost feels like there's nothing really outside of the personal lives, but like as far as just the real life stuff and how they connect with each other and how they view each other. But he earned the spot, right?
That promo last week,
yes,
from AJ
mm-hmm.
was perfect.
Yep.
He literally walked out there and goes, "I only beat up LA Knight because he annoyed me." Right? And Cody, I respect you, but I want to be champion.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah, like I want to be the guy again, essentially, right? And then Cody's rebuttal, saying how this isn't a dream match,
right?
Well, it is, but he has to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Cody literally pulled the curtain back and goes, "Guys, this is what we're doing," and nobody picked up on it. Not a single person picked up on it.
Yep.
Right. So, we talked. Butters and I talked about before you jumped on. Other than the Kabuki Warriors, everybody just won their titles. We're not even 30 days removed from WrestleMania.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's absolutely so. And then is Becky's not defending hers, right?
Correct.
I mean, what's Logan Paul doing again?
Nothing.
He's not on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Sammy Gable was on the show?
No, those are the 5 matches. That's it.
So you got Jey Priest, Cody, AJ, triple threat, tag titles, KO, Randy, Solo, Tama. So, and this is one thing, right? So in these offshore events, PLEs, the cards are generally smaller, and the performers, if on card, get time to tell a story.
Everybody's going to go 15 to 20 minutes, I think, tomorrow. I think that thing starts on the East Coast at 1
p.m.
Right, starts here in Texas at noon. I expect that thing to go 2.5 hours. Right, when you factor in video packages, maybe a backstage segment or two, right? Maybe a surprise. I don't know any French superstars that would surprise us, but Maybe some kind of surprise for the French crowd, right? Because they were white hot today. If you watched anything,
Oh my gosh, were they hot?
I'm not.
They were you would have thought it was the night after WrestleMania.
I saw the kickoff.
They were
not
singing.
kickoff.
They were singing intro.
They were singing. They've been singing since this afternoon when they were doing the press conference or the kickoff for Backlash.
Yeah,
the crowd was hot. So
the crowd was getting into it with the superstars in the ring with the chants. I mean, it was just crazy.
It was on a tape delay, right? So it happened 6 hours before it even aired over here.
Yep.
Right.
And a lot of your streamers from France that normally react to those things those videos were going all over TikTok. So I caught a lot of stuff as it was happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But we're in for a good show tomorrow when it comes to this. I said the same thing. We were gearing up for Elimination Chamber. We're not going to have anything groundbreaking. I don't think we're going to get anything that's going to go, oh my God, what just happened? But I think
from someone that's on the card or even a return couldn't get you like that.
I don't think there's a return that could get me like that.
Roman?
No, Roman's out for a while.
I know it's too soon, but I'm just saying. I was just throwing the name out there.
But even if Roman did show up, unless he showed up with two dudes that level Solo and Tama, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, you know who's over there, so they kind of already hinted at maybe you get somebody showing up, doing a little run-in. Maybe you get somebody else coming back. Maybe you get the W6. That would, but I don't know if you do that in France.
I don't think you do.
Yeah.
I don't think you do that in France. I think because where are you going to position them? Is that going to be? We know they're going to Raw.
Cody's the perfect champion for them to do that.
But we know they're going to Raw.
I'm sorry. We know. Well. Yeah. No.
Right. So
I don't know. Yeah, that picture's not clear. So I'll take. I mean, I'm just saying that was one of the things. I will say this real quick. With the POEs offshore, they're treating these like WrestleManias, and it's smart for business because they probably did WWE World the whole 9. They're getting the Mania treatment as Backlash because this is what the first one they've ever had overseas
in
France.
Well, so, and the other thing that I like about it too is we've all been there, right? Backlash comes up 30 days removed from WrestleMania. It's usually rematches from WrestleMania. It's usually, hey, let's put ourselves on this track. It's like, all right, WrestleMania was great, but we didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. We need to, clean up over here. Right? So usually it's a blow-off kind of event. This is one of those ones where, like, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to sit down and watch tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I think the wrestling's going to be top tier. You have all the big names right now. All your big stories are being highlighted. The only one that's not is probably the Sammy Gable one, but that's still in its infancy. And I think we have to see Gable align himself with the Creed brothers, if that's truly what's happening, before we see Gable and Sammy go at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you have to constantly see, like, Sammy get beat down, and then maybe the Creed brothers come out, ask Gable, like, another beat down. What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, what I see happening is Otis comes down. It's like, why are you beating up on him? And that's when the Creed brothers blindside Tozawa and Otis, and honestly, if Ivy blindsided Maxine,
that'd be cool.
If I say changing of the guard, just blast everybody.
Yeah, it's the new. It's don't even call. I don't know what you call it. Don't call it the Alpha Academy, but
Jacob. But even if he debuts, I'm still like, because we know it's coming. Right? It's just a matter of where is he being positioned? Is he siding with Solo and Tama? Do they need him to side with Solo and Tama? Or does Jacob Fatu show up when Jimmy is ready to come back?
That's the one thing with Jimmy going out or Jacob showing up now. It's like what is he?
What role do you serve?
Right, because they're not going to put the U.S. title on Solo. Right. And you really don't want Solo to feud with Cody because you kind of want to protect him.
Well, we already did this already.
I know, yeah. I mean, and I would hold off on Jacob. They don't need it.
I mean, I said it.
Unless LA Knight is the third person. But then even at that point, you just doing this just to do it 3-on-3.
Right. It's the bloodlines in such a weird little spot.
A weird little limbo.
Yeah. But let's everybody feel comfortable with Backlash. Anybody have any last thoughts or words?
No, but I do have something I want to hit on afterwards.
Okay, what do you got?
So we haven't been on in 2 weeks. Yeah. I just want to tip my cap, right? Because I think the last show we did was this. So it was 2 weeks ago. So 25th last week. The 18th was the last show we did. No, 19th. So I just want to tip my cap. My hat goes off to Swerve Strickland, AEW World Champion, actually wearing the belt.
Correct.
All the time when he's doing these interviews now. And I mean, listen, it's good to see he deserves it. I think it's the right time for him. I think he's in the right place. I don't think he would be in the position that he would be in right now if he was still in WWE because it's just so stacked. And he needs this. Now he has world champion on his resume. Can't take that away.
Did you watch the match though?
Oh, match was probably the worst one that they've had in a while.
The ending fell flat. Like
yes,
it didn't hit right. Like, and I didn't watch the whole pay-per-view.
The finish was like it was so telegraphic because how Joe was out of position, and if you can do that much moving, why didn't you get like? How come you didn't try to get up? Maybe he actually gets up, then Swerve knocks him down again. Then it looks more natural. It didn't look believable. But when Joe loses, sometimes it doesn't. Like his style is he's not the most graceful. Put it like that.
Right.
I love him to death, but he's not the most graceful.
No, he's not. And that's the part where I'm like,
yeah.
Like I was watching it, but I was also like, I think I was playing Fortnite while I was watching it. And
surprise.
Like next thing I know, I like the match is almost over. Like you can see them setting up for the finish. I'm like, this isn't even a Fortnite round. What?
I would have, if I was Tony, it sounds crazy. If that is my locked in main event, I'm leading that card with Ospreay Danielson.
Yes, you should have.
Because you have enough time to build back up. That second, because after that match, I mean, it's just that's tough. Either. And it sounds because you could have flip flop. Those two matches should have bookended the event. It should have been either World Championship, but early, Ospreay Danielson at the end, Ospreay Danielson main World Champion at the end. That and then you kind of just fill in everything else.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the WWE draft. Or
lack thereof.
Whatever you want to call this.
They chose players. Pick up wrestling. Backyard
wrestling.
Backyard wrestling.
Right? Where's Pablo? Anybody remember that from Backyard Baseball?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right? I like the format.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't like that the champions were protected.
Yes.
Because protect you tell me out the gate that the champions are protected.
It's like the biggest.
Then
biggest
who are we picking?
Right. The biggest contribution of the draft was when the champions swap brands.
Yes.
Yep.
Nobody saw that coming. So it's just the presentation of it, how much attention they gave it, from the hoopla of it. I like that.
The hoopla.
I just like when I say hoopla, when I'm talking about how Adam Pearce was wearing the red sport coat, how they kept like the war room, or like the kind of SmackDown war room vibe they gave.
I thought it was weird that JBL was in the Raw war room.
That is true.
Like we're not.
Wasn't he a commentator on Raw more though?
No.
Really?
That dude was the longest reigning SmackDown champion for the longest.
I'm not talking about as a performer. I said as an announcer.
No, and then it was him and Michael Cole.
I thought that was on Raw though.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he should have been in the SmackDown.
Yeah.
War room. I get it.
You know, him out there with Teddy Long.
Yeah, Teddy Long could. Imagine if you would have had Teddy Long, JBL, and hell, even for that one night, you could have brought back Vicky. All in the same room, doing picks. But regardless, even if the draft presentation was shit, right? If there would have been some better shuffling of the roster, some more unexpected picks, would have an overall different vibe. If I gotta lead what you asked me how the draft was, and I lead with the presentation was okay, then you already know. I'm not even addressing that. I'm not listening to that jive, turkey. Get out of here, sucker.
Deep in the hoopla.
To me, the only thing interesting about the draft was the after draft picks.
Yes.
The supplemental picks.
Yes.
But and then let's here's what I thought was smart on WWE's part with this. Other than I was very, very surprised that SmackDown took Bianca 1.
Right. And then Raw took Jey 1.
Yeah. And then
I guess what else are you gonna do when the champions are protected? But that goes back to your point.
What's your roster look like at that point? Right?
Right.
And I mean, no disrespect to Bianca, but why didn't Jade go night 1 in that first spot? Why did you wait until night 2?
Because she was part of the night 2 roster. They had separate rosters.
No. I
you mean separate pools that they could pick from night 1 and night 2?
Yeah, I understand that part, but why don't
she should have still been in the night 1 pool? Is what he's trying to say.
That's my point. She should have been in that night 1 pool, right? Because
I like this from Damien right here. I'll put this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Says WWE draft needs to be for NXT come ups only, leave main rosters alone unless you're doing trades. If they want to make it exciting to where you can, I like that idea, but then on paper, but then are they trying? And now if this is black and gold NXT, it would never happen. But with this new NXT, the way that they treated it, it was almost like the talent was sitting there. They took the ropes off the ring, and they were anxiously waiting to see if their name was going to be called. Well, so I like that. You know what I mean?
Like that the year
Nia Jax got drafted,
and when there were 2 years where it was like that.
I think it was like 2016,
but they weren't in the ring. They weren't at Full Sail. They were at the Performance Center.
Yes,
right. Where now the Performance Center, because of COVID, is set up as a true performance center.
Right.
Right. It had a better, from the NXT side, it had a better presentation.
Right. And that's where I think that talent is trying to get there. But you can still, a draft is one thing, and you had the players pool. I think they should do a draft for NXT only. But then if you really want to do something where you want rosters to be switched, or talent to be switched between rosters and travel days and all that, do a WWE free agency. You give a 72-hour window. So you can still do the same thing. Friday SmackDown, Raw, maybe if you want to include NXT or whatever, and do NFL draft and free agency. You can whatever. You can sign this, you can trade that, or do whatever. Somehow, somewhere, like I like Damien's idea to where the current active roster needs to be separated in that thing from NXT, because NXT in itself shouldn't feel like it's a level up when they get drafted, right?
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. I don't know how it works. Like, it's a great concept on paper. Don't have all the kinks worked out,
Well, but then you also have to keep in mind, right? If we're gonna pull from NXT, you can't pull a lot, right? You can't have it be. You can't.
Back in the day, you could because there was people to replace, but now you can't.
16 people one night and 24 people the other night. You wouldn't have an NXT left.
Yeah.
Right? What would be good would be, okay, here, all of NXT is up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we're going to have certain matches throughout SmackDown, certain matches throughout Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever brand wins that match, kind of like what they used to do back in the day with the original draft. Yep. There was a match, whoever won got the pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When it was a draft lottery.
Right.
Right? And it does that same concept. It goes to, and if you really want to do something fun with it, it cuts to the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spotlight going around a bunch of people. And that spotlight lands on an individual.
So Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Right? And that person, but it's a blue light or a red light.
So blue light special.
Got it. I like that.
Right?
I like that.
And that's how we know that they're going.
And then you can minimize the picks. So instead of doing 4 picks per round, you could do 2 picks per round.
Well, you don't have rounds.
You still got a round.
I mean, this year's draft still ain't over till Monday.
Well, the roster's on a lock until Monday, so it is quote unquote the free agency right now.
Yeah.
If you wanted to put it in some football terms, right? But what I'm saying though is, you do these matches, and maybe you know what, a match all right, just for argument's sake, okay, Randy Orton goes down to fight Seth Rollins, Raw, SmackDown versus Raw. Adam Pearce comes out and goes, you know what? This match is now a no disqualification match. And the winner of this match will get 2 picks. Right? Or something like that. And if you really wanted to have some fun with it, you don't have Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce in charge of either show that weekend. You have Ava in charge. So she's the one picking a Raw superstar, picking a SmackDown superstar, or setting the terms. Like, okay, this match is going to be worth 2 picks. Put your best fighters up. Place your bets. Right? She's the house. And you almost do it out of the... I mean, there's so many different ways you can do it. It's such a great idea for it to be just NXT only. Because if you look at, I'm looking at the list right now, and actually, I'm going to put the list up.
Right.
You put this up here. Make this to where everybody can see. There's not a lot of changes here. Right?
No.
Bianca, Jay, they stay where they're at. Mello gets moved up, but we knew Mello was going to SmackDown anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And Seth stays. Randy Orton stays. Braun's the only one of that first 6 where you're like, oh, well, we thought he was going to go to SmackDown. They did this big, huge, thing about him going to SmackDown, and a week later he's going to Raw. Nia changes brands. Okay. Liv stays. LA Knight stays. Ricochet stays. The Bloodline stays, which I thought was dumb. That was the perfect opportunity to move the Bloodline.
Well, but once again, if to move them to sacrifice long storytelling or whatever vision that they have, they've already shown you they're not willing to do that. They'll pivot and they'll adjust, but overarching, they still want to get to that end goal.
I just don't, I'll die on this hill. I talked about it prior to. I didn't want them and Cody on the same show.
I remember you said that our last show. He was like, now that that's happened, separate the Bloodline and Cody, which would have made sense. It would have made
Yep.
Because now that they're lurking around,
Sheamus moves over to Raw. AJ stays. Alpha Academy stays. Andrade goes from Raw to SmackDown. Okay, sure. I think the most surprising pick, though, of the night was the Kiana James call-up.
Yeah.
I legitimately didn't see
I
that one
agree.
coming. Like, of all the people you could have called up, you pick Kiana. Nothing against her, but it's like, you haven't done squat. And then you get to the supplemental. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, they go from Raw to SmackDown. Baron Corbin returns to the main roster. Cedric Alexander and Adonis, they stay. Ivar stays. Shayna stays. The OC stays. Zoe stays. Why?
Why
that's
have
also-
those picks if they're all going to stay?
But that's the thing. Like, so if we said my only thing is, and this isn't in defense of the atrocity of the whole thing, right? So atrocity may be a harsh word. Is once they do, if they swap brands, what's the story then? Like, you gotta have. Are they going to be used in the same way? So that's a great question. So because that's why we kind of go back to what we said about Priest and JD. If you do this, what's next, right? So, like, if you did swap Shayna, what's next? And you know that women's division over there is star-studded. Do they have enough time to make Shayna and bring her up to that level, right? So my question to you is, out of those who did swap brands, a year from now, who's going to be in a better position than they were prior to being on the other brand, prior to the draft?
So what I love about the draft, and I feel like I have to preface this answer with what I love about the draft is before it was always an opportunity to build new stories, right? We know that after WrestleMania, there is a lull up until the build for SummerSlam because the idea is you're going to build new stories. You have to lay that foundation. You have a new roster. You're going to build new foundations, build new, new stories, new feuds, new teams, new whatever, right? And as wrestling fans, we understand that fact. But now with you not doing this, realistically, in my opinion, you better be swinging from now until August.
Yeah, nonstop.
Right? If you're not, then we did something wrong here.
Right.
Right? We always have the draft is the week before. So the Raw before a PLE has been the end of the draft. You have the PLE and then the draft blocks. Right? That was your only saving grace for this weekend.
Right.
Was you locked your champions. Right? We knew the women's tag titles were fluid. Right? But everybody stayed where they were. So it's a moot point. I remember years ago, well, wait a minute. The champions stayed on Raw, but the challengers went to SmackDown. The challenger just won. So what's happening with the title?
Right.
Right? Yep. Those were the best coming out of those pay-per-views. Right? And you look at night 2, Imperium stays, Jade stays, Damage Control swaps, Owen stays, Punk stays, the Pride stays, Braun stays, Tiffany stays, Latino, the LWO swaps, Legado stays, Drew stays, Nakamura swaps, not sure why, Judgment Day stays, Naomi stays, Dragunov comes up, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven swap just for one day later. Chelsea Green to be challenging for the NXT Women's title. The New Day stays. Pretty Deadly stays. Lyra gets called up. Candice and Indy swap. Okay. The Final Testament, they swap. DIY swap to stay with the girls. Right? Bronson stays. And then Blair Davenport gets called up.
Now, see, it was up until Blair. I was wondering, was SmackDown even going to pick somebody from NXT? Because even I had wrote in the chat, our chat group, like, hey, are they even going to, and then it's like, oh, I spoke too soon.
Right.
SmackDown picks, Blair Davenport. Like,
why
was SmackDown
they didn't have a plan for Alba and Isla Dawn. I don't know what you do with Blair Davenport.
Yeah,
They put them on
You
Raw.
really weren't doing anything with her in NXT either. So, she wasn't even in the North American Women's Champion ladder match. Well, I think she would have been a great first interim, first time North American champion or inaugural champion.
Yeah,
because you elevate a mid-card title.
So Damien goes, the only thing I don't get is why were the women's tag teams drafted when they can only go from show to show? Because when they eventually drop the titles, and it's been like that even when the other champions
24 hours from now.
Yeah, when the other champions were able to go back and forth, they have a home that they go back to.
Yeah.
Right? But and then you look at the supplementals. Apollo swaps, Diamond Mine stays, Dijak comes up, Vinci swaps because he's now going to go to absolute nothingness. So let's just send him over to SmackDown to get forgotten about. Carter and Chant stay. Natalya stays. Who had a great match on NXT Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Who won that match, by the way?
The other girl.
Lola,
yeah. New Catch swaps. Odyssey Jones. I didn't even realize he was on the Raw roster.
He was there. I think there was dirt sheets that said there was plans for him to join the Pride, but they nixed those plans.
I want to say he was drafted when Gable Stevenson was drafted that same year, and he's just been injured or something. I don't remember. It's crazy.
And then Tegan swaps. Right, but wasn't Braun?
She's the dullest wizard.
Yeah, Braun Strowman was drafted to Raw right there.
Yeah, Russ, but he stayed.
Wasn't he on SmackDown before he got hurt?
No, he was on Raw.
Okay.
And then you look at the who's not involved: Alexa, Big E, Brock, Carmella, Charlotte, Dexter. Reasons are unknown. Eric, Jimmy out. Nikki out. Again, unknown. Almas and MVP, stupid. Raquel out. Rhea out. Roman Reigns got pulled out by Paul. Shotzi out. Sonya out. Tamina unknown. Uncle Howdy out. Valhalla out. Right?
Yep.
And the big story coming out of the draft, here's right here. Carlito left the group during night one of the draft after attacking Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio.
Right.
But he was still drafted as part of the group. But that was the biggest story that while yes, predictable, nobody's talking about it.
Yep.
He leaves the group and gets drafted with the group.
Yeah.
Because they sure said his name first on that card.
Yep. But
I can't make heads or tails of it, sir.
I can't either. We're over time. Let's wrap this up. Put this on a big pretty bow. I think the draft was lackluster. I think Raw won. I think SmackDown got the shaft on this one.
I think Nick Aldis was trying to go for something and epically failed.
But I'm okay if they flop. If we're gonna go back to the old school days where you put all the talent that needs some love and needs some attention on SmackDown, and then you ultimately end up having but you ultimately have an incredible talent roster in 6-7 months.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So let's kind of run down how things are going to go. Next week, I'm not on the air. I'm in Disneyland. I'm coming back that day.
Okay.
All right. So you guys will do probably Backlash, Fallout. And then I'll be back on the 17th, and we're going to be running every week. We'll probably, because there's not a lot going on over these next few weeks, so we'll probably come up with some fun things. Butters is probably not going to be on the 24th because that is Comic Palooza weekend.
Yep, I will not.
So Butters will be out there. Comic-Con weekend down here. It's our big Comic-Con for the Houston area.
What is a comic book that you speak of? I'm sorry.
But actually, this year at Comic Palooza, John Cena's there on Sunday.
Wow.
It's $200 to get a picture with that schmuck. I may go down there for that.
Yeah, I can't see him.
Act cordially. Don't bring peace. I love Peacemaker.
I think to all the times we've met superstars. Oh, it's so comical. But we're going to get out of here. I'm going to say it. It's a little early, but I'm going to say it anyway. Hold on. I'll say it right at the end.
45 minutes and counting.
I don't care. I want to thank our sponsor, Allen's E-Travel. Allen's E-Travel specializes in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, wherever your heart calls you. Go on to allens-travel.com/take the trip. Enjoy Backlash tomorrow. Gentlemen, enjoy your week. I will see you all on the other side. But until then, and actually, did you guys realize, I don't know how big Star Wars fans you are. As of May 1st, there is no more prequel era anything in Star Wars.
So it's all new stories.
Because all the Bad Batch ended, so the Clone Saga is officially over.
Okay.
With that, though, I will say, may the 4th be with you.
Go watch X-Men 97 on Disney Plus.
Also that, we're going to talk about that too next week, in 2 weeks, whatever. All right, guys, we're out. Peace, love, and joy.
Peace.